Welcome. We are going to discuss TDS module. Prior to this module, TDS deductors were facing problems like difficulty in calculating the TDS amount, as different deductees or expenses may be having different TDS rates, facing problem to keep track of amount deducted details from each party. They were preparing challans manually. They were filling the form 16A and the other returns manually. While with focus TDS module, TDS calculations on a key press, TDS deducted amount details on a fingertips, TDS challan entries within fraction of seconds, issuing of form 16A whenever required. Presentation consists of 4 parts: required files, implementer settings, user entries, reports. Required files: TDS setup 2 folder, menus.fsf, focus tds.dll, support DLLs folder. These are the 4 required files: TDS setup 2 folder, focus TDS DLL, menus.fsf and support DLL folder. Implementer settings: run TDS setup, copy the data of TDS menus.fsf to focus menus.fsf file, copy focus tds.dll to focus folder, extract support DLLs to a folder, register focus tds.dll, also register support DLLs, then register focus 3 files: company.ocx, focus api.ocx, option.ocx. Set ActiveX program ID and function name in preferences. Set ActiveX program ID and function name in voucher wizard. Create extra fields in account master. Run TDS patch. First is run TDS setup. In this TDS setup 2 folder, you will find a setup. Run this setup. Do you want to keep this? Yes. Okay. Next is copy the data of menus.fsf to focus menus. In focus 6RT also you will find a file called menus.fsf. Open this and paste the data into this. Save this. Next is copy this focus TDS to focus folder. Then register. Next is in the same you will find support DLL. Extract this. Next is in focus 6RT, whenever a new DLL is registered, we need to register this company focus API, then option. Register 3 OCX files. Next is set ActiveX program ID and function name in preferences integration in place of initialize company. Copy the same in place of save masters. ActiveX program ID is focus tds.t class while function name is initialized. For save masters, the function name is add master. Next is in voucher wizard also set the ActiveX program ID and function name wherever you want to use TDS. Let us assume we want to use TDS in payments. So external functions, ActiveX program ID is focus TDS dot T class. After saving document, function PMT must be executed. Here, voucher abbreviation is used as a function name. For journal, it's JRN. For purchases, it can be PUR, like that. In accounts master, 3 extra fields are to be created. TDS party, ledger ID, open type. The created extra fields are appearing here. So if TDS is applicable for any particular party, then the user have to enter the value 1 here. For TDS account, like TDS on contractors or any account of TDS, the ledger ID must be 1, while open type, in which vouchers we are going to use this, we have to specify the values from 1 to 4 over here. In open type, value 1 indicates that we are going to use this TDS in payment voucher, while 2 indicates we are using in purchases, 3 indicates as journal, 4, if I enter 4, we can use in any of the voucher. 4 is for all vouchers. Next is run TDS patch. Let us assume we have to deduct TDS amount as per the following data. As Mr. A is a contractor, we have to deduct 2% TDS, 10% surcharge and 3% education cess. While Mr. B is a building owner, we have to deduct 15% TDS, 10% surcharge and 3% education cess. User entries: entering company TDS details with financial year, creating party types, creating accounts with TDS details, TDS account, party account, bank accounts can be created, challan generation by using transaction, challan entry, remittance details, generate certificate, issue certificate. Whenever we start RT for the first time, we will be getting TDS related window where we need to enter the door number, all other details. Street, state we need to select from the list. All the information, phone number, fax number, we can enter. Deductor status other than central government, TDS account number. This is the number provided by the department. Range, accessing officer, TDS circle, address, if you want to round off, then how many decimals you want to round off, that we are going to choose here. TDS signatory, all the information can be recorded. Then click on save. Whenever we save this, immediately we will be getting a financial year pop-up where we need to create the year. So a year is created. Next is create the required party types. To create the party types, enter the party type name TDS on contractors. Choose the option whether this is a contractor or any other. As per the assumption, we require two party types. Another is TDS on rent. For this, we have selected this as others. Save. While creating accounts also, we will be getting a pop-up. As per the assumption, Mr. A contractor account. The type customer vendor. For contractors account, these two fields are applicable, TDS party and open type. Open type, if you want to use this in only payment voucher, then enter 1. If you want to use this in purchases, then enter 2. To use in journals, 3. To use in all vouchers, we need to specify this as a 4. Save this. Whenever we save this, out of the created party types which is applicable for this particular contractor, we need to check here. All other information like state, his PAN number, address can be entered. Enter the code, then save. While creating TDS account, the type will be assets and liabilities. This ledger ID is applicable. If we enter 1, then only it will be a TDS account. If this is blank, then it will not be treated as a TDS account. Click on OK. Here we need to specify Form 16A type, whether this is payment of contractor or subcontractor. User has an option that he can select a description, whether it's a 26A or 26C. Next, what must be the prefix and suffix for the certificate? Save this. After saving, we will be getting a percentage window where we need to specify the percentage. The TDS as per the assumption 2, 10, 3%, which is applicable from 1st April. Save. In the same way, as per the assumption, we need to create few more accounts. That is Mr. B, who is a building owner. Customer vendor. For him, TDS is applicable. That's why enter 1. I want to use in any of the voucher. That's why enter 4. TDS on rent is applicable for him. Select the state. Save. In the same way, while creating a bank account also, we will be getting a pop-up where we need to specify the branch. Another account required is TDS on rent. Type assets and liabilities. Ledger ID 1. Select the type Form 16A description as rent. Let us assume we made some payment to the contractor. When we record the payment entry, at that time we will be getting a TDS related pop-up. Select the contractor name. When we save this, automatically we are getting this TDS related pop-up where select the party type, select the TDS ledger. Now you will find automatically the amount is bifurcated as 9,773 and 227 rupees. Save this. In the same way, when we make any payment to the building owner, that is Mr. B, let us assume we paid him 1 lakh rupees. Select party type, ledger, TDS ledger. Save. When we view the previous entry, the amount will be posted in this way. Automatically a reverse entry will be passed by the system to the corresponding account. Here the case is TDS on rent. For the previous entry, it is posted to TDS on contractor's account. Now whatever we have recorded, the whole details will appear in this transaction. While depositing this collected amount into the bank, this transaction option must be selected and the amount must be calculated. So choose the ledger, TDS on contractors, then choose the type, show period, for which period we are going to deposit. So here we have an option, either we can select a month or the whole year we can select. So we have recorded all the entries in the month of April. So let us go with April. Here we have on TDS on contractors, we have recorded 2 entries. That's why it is showing 2 entries. By default, the status of both the entries will be no. By using this set all yes, we need to change the status as yes. Then click on compute. Before clicking on this compute, you will find all the amounts as 0. After clicking on compute, you will get all the amounts. Total amount 30,000, tax amount 600, surcharge 60, education and cess 20 rupees, net TDS 680 rupees. That is a combination of 660 plus 20. So save this. That was serial number 1. Now it is changed as 2. The same serial number will appear in place of challan details, serial number, TDS on contractors, then choose the serial number. The whole data will be loaded automatically from transaction 660, 20. Whole details are loaded from the drop down. Then enter the 7-digit bank code, challan number, either payment is by cash or through check. If it is a check, then check number, date, date of challan. Save this. Now the challan is prepared. We have an option, we can print the challan through this option. To print the challan, we are using this print. Next is, though the challan is prepared, it may be deposited on some other date. So for that, remittance is provided. So when the amount is deposited in a bank, we have to specify the date over here. Remittance, non-remitted challans. When we click on show, it will display all non-remitted challans. So just simply enter the remittance date. Save. Now it will display in remitted challans. It will not display in the non-remitted challans. Next is, to generate the Form 16E certificate, we are using this generate certificate. Here select the option TDS on contractors, contractor name, show period for which month or year, click on generate. We'll be getting a message called certificate generated. In the same way, while issuing a certificate, we need to run this issue certificate. Choose the TDS ledger, type, contractor, for which period, the whole year, issue certificate. Certificate issue, reports, Form 16A, Form 26Q E-Form, Form 27A, other reports. All the reports will be generated automatically. To view the reports, this menu is used. In this, very first is Form 16A. Select the party, TDS ledger, then party type, party name, for which period, choose the period, then on which date we are submitting him. When we click on report, the form will be generated with the whole details. Name and address of the person deducting tax, name and address of the person to whom payment made, in whose account it is credited, with their PAN numbers, TDS numbers, the whole details of payment, tax deduction and deposit of tax. To view with grid lines, check this. To view without grid lines, we need to check this or uncheck. The whole details will be filled automatically. Directly we can print this Form 16A. To print, we are using this button. Next is (26E) form. Select the period for which quarter you want to view this. Then use this generate form. You will find automatically a file will be generated in the focus folder with the name form26q1.txt. This is the file automatically generated. This is the TDS quarterly return. Next is Form 26A. The whole details will appear. This is the annual return of TDS from interest other than interest on securities. Whole details will be loaded automatically. Next is (26J), (26C), all the forms will be generated automatically. (27A), the other reports are transaction details. Whatever we have recorded in a transaction, that will appear over here. We have recorded 3 entries, that's why it's showing 3 entries. In this transaction, we are getting the details from transaction. Same information is appearing over there in the form of report. Next is challan details. Whatever we have recorded in this challan, that will appear in this report, challan details. There are 2 challan entries. it is displaying both the entries. Next is party details. So whatever TDS related parties we have created, those parties will appear here. Next is bank details. Whatever banks we have created, those bank names will appear.